I think one of the things that's next for equality in Cleveland and across the country is schools as an educator that accept everyone, that are open to everyone, that are including the transgender portion of society in everything. And there is nothing that is discriminatory for every single person.
So speaking as a child of lesbian parents, I think what's next for Cleveland, since I've been born and raised here with two moms, is that is never looked at any different than being raised with a mother and a father. So being fully accepted as a full nuclear family, just like every other family wishes to be.
And I think from my perspective as an advocate for people with disabilities that obviously have some differences, I see in Cleveland a community for all where we don't see that difference.
For equality in Cleveland, I would love to see a situation where my kids who are in middle school could feel comfortable coming out and discussing sexuality, because right now the school where they go to is not necessarily welcoming.
And I'm going to piggyback after that and say the same thing. My daughter's in high school, and I would like to see more within the high schools and within the school system, maybe starting with non-gender specific bathrooms and making it an open and welcome conversation where kids can start at that ground level, having the conversation, coming out, feeling that it's okay to say, you know what, equality is here and it's okay. We're in Cleveland.
Well, I think what's next for equality in Cleveland is what's next for equality nationwide. And that's really for the next generation to be able to grow up, to fall in love, to go to proms, to find the person they want to settle down with and get married and live the rest of their life in a relationship and have families.
Without the barriers and the walls that we had to break through in our lifetime. So we're praying for you, we're supporting you, and we know you'll do us proud.
For equality in Cleveland, I think it's very important that we give full recognition to the rights and to the proper treatment of transgender individuals, people who are in all phases of the process, and that they be free of discrimination and young people be free from bullying, and that the schools be made to understand how to work with very young transgender children.
And I also believe that, again, as much as it is for Cleveland, it's pretty much everywhere, is for our LGBT youth and keeping them safe, giving them those places where they can go and feel safe and be themselves and be who they are right from the very beginning.
I hope that the next stages have to do with the transgender community. As a heterosexual, white, married mom of children, I happen to run a transgender program for youth, and it's been very exciting to see the changes and the positive steps that our youth have experienced, who choose to live in the gender that they feel that they are. And I've had many youth now transition without the bullying and the stereotypes and the struggles that occurred 20 years ago. And I hope we can move to where our medical profession and our overall health system recognizes that these youth deserve to live in the gender that they belong.
Cleveland has come such an incredible way with, I think over these 30 years that we've been involved in a nonprofit organization called PFLAG Cleveland, Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. So it started out 30 years ago for us, helping this community, and Jane, you have told the story so nicely about your son coming to you and nudging you to start this group. And I think it's a lovely story.
Well, Cleveland didn't really have any kind of support for LGBT and families, and there was a group in Akron. And my son and I made a couple of trips to Akron, and he thought that was kind of ridiculous that we'd be making these trips to Akron, and he sort of did this to me, and Mom, we need one of these in Cleveland. And I was getting a master's degree in social work at the time, and I begged him to please let me finish school first. And in my black cape at graduation, I get another elbow that says, "Now, Ma." And my son, who happens to be here tonight, went around and must have interviewed 15 different churches looking for a place that would give us rent-free space, and Trinity Cathedral was the church that came through for us, and we're still meeting there. And
so Cleveland has been a great city for all of us. It's welcomed us and helped us help families in the greater Cleveland area for 30 years. And I think we're going to stay there. There's still a great need. Cleveland has progressed, I think, among the cities around the country as one of the most progressive cities in the nation, and we are very proud of it. We've benefited from it, and I think Cleveland's going to keep going in the right direction to help others, with this sense of being, welcome all people of all faiths, religion, sexual identity, gender identity. This is really an important moment in our history where we're opening the front door and welcoming people to Cleveland.
I think next for equality in Cleveland would be to tackle discrimination. It's great that we have the legendary marriage equality passed in June, but I would really like to see something that tackles specifically discrimination, and especially with our LGBT youth, bullying, anti-bullying, etc. And I think that we still have a long ways to go in regards to that, but I know that we can get there.
What's next for equality in Cleveland is when sexual orientation means nothing to people. It's irrelevant. It doesn't count. That's what's next.
I'm really inspired by the youth. I just think that it's just a way of life, and it doesn't have to be called out, and everybody's good with it, and we just go with the flow, and everybody loves each other.